Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the Get to Know Me series. For being here today, That's right. We're back once again for Get to Know Me. And man, do we have an amazing show today. My guest today can be seen worldwide every week at not just one, not just two, not just three, about 75 different places. You can find them all over your Peacock streaming channel on the WWE Network page. He's covered everybody from slamming people on the field to slamming people in the ring. Let's get to know Matt Camp.
Anybody ready for Stump the Bump trivia?
Yes, let's go. I am. Wait.
Winner of the tournament earns the right to take on our current
The Women's War Games match. Toxic Attraction. The NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose. The Tag Team Champions Gigi Dolan and JC Jane and Dakota Kai take on Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, Cora Jade, and Kaylee Ray. And Kaylee Ray got the advantage in the ladder match on NXT.
All right, let's bring him in all the way from Studios Unknown. It's Matt Camp. Hi, Matt. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mike, thank you very much. And I won't hold it against you that you had my reset haircut in there talking about war games. I had a really bad haircut once, and my barber said we got to shave it all off. That was like midway through, but thank you for putting that together, making me look very good. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Not a problem. We'll blame it on media availability for Matt Camp out there on the World Wide Web. That's what we'll blame it on.
I'll talk to my agent about that.
Get on that. There we go. So, all right. So I got to, right from the jump, real talk, why I brought you on here. It's all a ruse. It has nothing to get to know you. I just need to know, people want me to trade them Najee Harris from my fantasy team. Am I keeping Najee this season?
I think so. Don't tell anybody, but I don't keep up as much as I used to on that. I mean, my fantasy football career, very important to what I have done, no doubt about that. But I have noticed that since joining WWE, especially in the last year, the people who would come out of the woodwork, people I used to go to high school with and haven't talked to in 20 years, they don't ask me as many fantasy questions as I once got. But I know Najee Harris is good, because I believe he won me some money on DraftKings or something like that. So, yeah, sure, that's good too.
That sponsorship rolls over even into Get to Know Me. So, so Matt, you hit on it, working for WWE. There's so many people are going to recognize you and stuff, but could you just give us a little snippet on what you do? I kind of set it up that you can kind of be seen everywhere. I'm starting to think you're kind of like the James Brown of the WWE. So can you fill us a little bit in there?
I would take James Brown. I like Todd Pettengill as well. I've gotten that one. But basically, what I was brought in to do for WWE about 2.5 years ago now, almost 3, was to be the host of the morning, now soon to be afternoon show, WWE's The Bump, our own look at what's going on at WWE. And admittedly, I think I was brought in to be the wrestling historian, the wrestling nerd, the guy who's got that encyclopedia knowledge. And those are all very good things. You kind of find your own role in that. And that's what I was brought in to do initially. And that role has evolved over the time, from doing the NXT injury report to during the pandemic, we need to find ways to create content. So I was hosting, we need somebody to host the best of series. I still host that to this very day. And that changed a lot of different ways. And, we do the show like the Ultimate Show, where I host and we kind of fantasy put together these ultimate cards of all kinds of history. It's a host role. And then last year, I got the privilege. I earned the privilege of becoming one of the co-hosts of both Raw Talk and Talking Smack. So, I am involved in what was WWE Digital. It's now all WWE Media. I'm involved in TV things. I get to travel to the premium live events as well. So I try to be intentionally a jack of all trades, and even got to call an episode of Level Up, and hopefully there's more of that to come. So if I am needed, the answer is always yes for WWE.
That is the correct answer. And I just jotted down, that's why I say in James Brown, the hardest working man in WWE sports entertainment biz. And we got the bump, color commentator, NXT Level Up, Raw Talk, Talking Smack, contributor to WWE Evil, the award-winning, soon-to-be award-winning show there. We have the Ultimate Show. Every premium live event history, you pull out the all-stars of that. Greatest tag teams miniseries, able to narrate that, so on and so forth, and just showing that a lot of level of trust and versatility for you within WWE. But with this show here, we are focusing on people that are really living their dreams and following. We believe God's given us a passion to go and do stuff, and you have definitely followed into that dream. Talking to you and knowing you a little bit, could you kind of give us a little background into how did you end up all the way on WWE TV?
It's really a journey of an entire career. I was a fan from as long as I can remember. I could tell you I watched WrestleMania 7 was the first WrestleMania 7 I watched from front to back, but one of the first matches I remember, WrestleMania 6, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, and I was just a fan ever since then. And if everything goes well in your life and you can make it happen, if you can make your passion and your fandom something that becomes a career, you are winning in life. You are winning in your career. And, it was always a hope, but I never thought I'd be able to get in the ring. And I never thought, I wanted to be a writer for WWE, believe it or not, as I got into high school. And I was always trying to find the ins and outs of it. But I was always into sports, and I was always, how can I get into sports in some way? I was not a good athlete. That was not going to happen. I thought about being a sports agent. Just to show you how many twists and turns there could be, I went to college for education to be a teacher. That's my dad was for 30 years. My mom worked in my high school. That lasted maybe a year. That's just how it went. I mean, communication is what I got into. Communication is what I studied, and not necessarily this kind of stuff. It was more the critical studies of, why ratings happen and why decisions are made, and the thought process that go into television and video and movies and radio. And I actually wanted to work at NFL Films. And NFL Films was somewhere I got an internship back in 2007. And now I feel that was 15 years ago. And I was at the end of college, but I did that. And that just kind of, that you put that on a resume. And I wanted to work there. And I thought I would work there. And I got an internship there. And I worked there during the summer. And I got to do so many great things. And they said, we'd love to have you back because we want to hire you eventually. And I did get to work there during the NFL season in 2007. But then they had a hiring freeze. And the economy wasn't good, and I couldn't work there, and it did crush me, and I had to go back to the drawing board, and I moved back to North Jersey, and I worked for a sports communications company, and I literally logged highlights of every single sport you could imagine, and that was my job. And then I was an assistant producer, and you just keep meeting people on the way. And a friend of mine who was rehabbing from a torn ACL in Atlantic City, Brigantine, New Jersey, was looking for jobs. He said, hey, I know you do and I was doing podcasts and stuff of my own that nobody read and nobody saw. I saw a job for this fantasy football website. And I said, oh, okay. It was an ad and it seemed fake. So I applied and I got a call back, and I got a couple calls back. And next thing I know, I'm working for a website called fantasyguru.com. It's since been sold twice. Right. A very big subscription fantasy football website. And I said, when I got there, I can do video, I can host, I can produce, I could take the garbage out. We had a company of 4 people. That's what it was. But it was about fantasy football. So I made that connection. My boss happened to be, and I know this is a long story, but it's all connects. I swear the show's the story. My boss worked for Sirius. He was the first. John Hansen had the first Sirius fantasy football show. It was on the NFL channel.
For those that don't know, Sirius is the online radio, essentially.
Right, Sirius XM.
Sirius
streaming,
XM.
Been around forever. And he had one of the first, he had the first fantasy football show on there. It was on the NFL channel. I started there. And they said, oh, we're going to go to 2 nights. Him and I went to the Super Bowl that next year. And the head of Sirius Sports said, your call volume is as high as almost everybody except for Howard Stern, just to show you how popular it was. And that's what fantasy football is. There's advice. So they said, let's make a whole channel. They said, okay, you're the cornerstone. And he said, well, put my guys on. So myself, my coach, Joe Dolan, who's still on there to this day, good friend of mine, we were one of the first teams, some of the first voices on Sirius that would connect me, believe it or not, to a lot of people in the world of sports entertainment and wrestling. And I got to meet people through there, and you kept meeting people. And the next thing I know, I go from meeting Jeff Jarrett to meeting Tommy Dreamer to Vic Joseph, who we hear on NXT, who ends up getting hired by WWE. Tommy Dreamer says, hey, would you like to come be my new play-by-play man for House of Hardcore, which is his independent promotion in the Northeast? I said, absolutely. What a learning experience that was. And the next thing I know, Vic's like, hey, you should meet Tom Phillips. I meet Tom Phillips. I connect with him, of course, former WWE broadcaster, doing a great job in Impact now, and all the things he's done with Penn State Radio and ESPN Radio. You see how it all branches out, and he connects with, hey, there's a position available. I think you should apply. And that was almost 3 years ago. Actually, 3 years ago, like right now is when I started getting those heads up, and that was it. And that's just a long journey going from I think I'm going to be a teacher to I really want to work in the NFL, to now I'm talking about, former NFL players in a totally different format. And I'm interviewing people who are showing that athletic endeavors can take you in a lot of different directions, much like my career has as well.
Yeah. And which cheap plug, got to put in, Mr. Jeff Jarrett himself will be one of the guests on this show later on this season. So we're looking forward to that.
Careful with Jeff. Just I'm letting you know.
I know. I won't tell him you said that. Don't worry. I'll play it back. You guys all again. So and so you see this trajectory of your career, and even within WWE, you've had the opportunity to even branch out, interview William Shatner when he came back from space, and things of that nature. So it seems like you almost have to be flexible and willing to do whatever comes up.
I think that's a great way to put it, Mike, because you don't think things like that are going to come up. When I started, I wanted to do as many things as I could, and whether it be on camera or radio or producing, and especially in my field, I would tell anybody, learn as much as you can in front of the camera and behind the camera. And anybody will tell you this in the media world. I think everybody who gets into our business wants to be on camera.
Right.
And I think and I would be surprised to hear somebody that doesn't want to do that. Whether you're an editor or a sound tech or you're producing, or you want to be on camera, probably. That's where the dream started. But there's a lot of jobs in there along the way. And if you can learn those jobs, you're going to have a better understanding of what is going on. I mean, I think a lot of people know this. In the pandemic, in this very room I'm sitting at home, I'm in my house right now in rural Pennsylvania in a Philadelphia suburb. And I would say this, I had to learn how to be a cameraman, how to give myself, mic'd up, how to light this room up, how to do all these things, how to edit. And it made me a better broadcaster. And I think that's the kind of thing you have to think about when you're getting into this is, how do I make myself the most valuable? And when you say, I interviewed William Shatner, did I ever expect to do that? No, I expect to be talking to Roman Reigns and Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes and Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. That's the easy stuff to me. I know all about that. But
Captain Kirk wasn't on that Rolodex.
I interviewed him twice. I interviewed him once dressed as Doink the Clown. I mean, you want to talk about a wrestling Mad Libs. I don't think that's ever been written down before. But I say that because a couple of years ago, working for Bleacher Report, it was the year I started with WWE. And they asked me, I had done these Facebook Live shows with a co-host. I had some fun with our Bass Pro Shop sponsor, and we're throwing fish around and going on site. All of this would take you out of your comfort zone. You're not thinking about fantasy football. All right, I'm going to go to a Bass Pro Shop and put on some waiters. Like, that's different. That's the entertainment aspect of it. And that's what we all do. I mean, it all comes back to that. So a couple of years ago, I'm starting with WWE, and Bleacher Report says, we'd like to send you to Las Vegas. And you're going to go out there every week of the NFL season, and we want you to do a fantasy football show at the Caesar Sportsbook. Okay, sure. I get out there, I do rehearsals, and they say, hey, your football stuff, you got that down. Where's that WWE side? Where's the entertainment side? We're not worried about the football stuff. Right. You have that locked down. Go have fun with it. And it basically turned into something that was completely out of my comfort zone, 20 to 25 minutes by myself, no teleprompter. And we're doing skits, and I'm dressing up, and we're having fun. And I think that totally got me ready and put me in a much more comfortable of a zone for WWE. At the same time, I'm doing the bump and I'm doing these other things. But now it's, how do you be a performer? How do you get out of something that has been so comfortable for you and take it in a different direction? Because I was so hardcore about fantasy when I started. it's the numbers and the analysis and the statistics, and that is very important. But it's still entertainment. You still got to
Right.
have fun with it, and that is what I see some of the very best broadcasters do. Is they find ways to bring different audiences in, not just the hardcore audience, and that's whether it be in sports entertainment or fantasy football or anything. Some of those people are always going to be watching. How do you bring in that other audience? How do you entice them with some entertainment? And then they go, oh, actually, he or she really knows what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, and it's that versatility, not knowing, your passion may be here, but knowing that it could be used. I'm a hold with me for one side exit here for a second. We actually met through the bump. Matt, I found out, had some pretty nice influence on through a contest, bringing me in as a contestant on WWE Stump the Bump almost a year ago, this past March. And I got to say, one of the greatest experiences of my life, and getting to live out my dream of being on WWE television, but more importantly, seeing my kids on WWE television, my wife on WWE television, something there. But within that, we were in the pandemic, and, I was having all these technicians, before we would go on, I would get a call the day before. It would be all from the technicians talking about my internet setup and my lighting and my microphones, and they would be bouncing around and talking to producers, and I'd have people in my ear, and they were all working remote, and they were giving me tips. And then we would even get on air, and you would even be given, oh, we're gonna do that, and you guys, you and Kayla and Ryan and Evan would kind of be talking amongst each other, where are we going to be? And there was all of this inside talk about just using general knowledge of all these different aspects. It wasn't just sitting there looking at the camera and talking. It was all these different aspects. And then got to be on the bump. Great experience. And I had a little bit of some cool moments of people interacting back with me. So we saw you on TV. We saw you on the internet. And I kept getting asked, like, you look so comfortable. Why did you, why are you so comfortable? And I said, well, it's not really a lot different than what I do in my weekly life. Being a pastor, every week I have to get up and talk in front of people. I have to be comfortable, and I have to keep them engaged. And I believe that, the word that I'm speaking will help in that. But then I go back to even when I was 15, 16, 17, working as a camp counselor, and dressing up and doing skits and getting comfortable at campfires, and then working daycare and making sure that the kids are, these all flow into each other. And as you look back, and I'm sure you can agree, you see the building blocks in place that go into the final product, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think, you telling your story is interesting, that it is those building blocks. It is the fact that you're getting comfortable. I wouldn't say I did anything. I didn't act.
Right.
I wasn't in drama. I didn't want to be in the chorus or the choir. I kind of pushed back against that, when I was coming up through elementary school and middle school. I was always the one that was the organizer. Hey, we're gonna play this sports league. We're gonna do this tournament, or this is the direction we're going to do with these games. And hey, let's play this Madden. I was always that guy. I was going to go write it all down and make the website up. And when fantasy football was getting going in the early 2000s, I was in 1997 writing the scores and the margins of the New York Daily News, but it was me to do it. Like that.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. But I think about that now, where I like to take control. Not necessarily just for me, but also, hey, I could trust myself to delegate and put people in roles. And that's a big part of this too, because you'll see me on camera, right? And that's what you see. You got to see a little bit different. You got to see the behind the scenes. You talk to, our producer Joe, and you talk to our APs and our
amazing
RPAs.
people, by the way, amazing people.
And I let me sidebar on that for a second. If you're going to get into the communications world, you're going to get into media, you want to be on the radio or on television or movies, whatever. I can't tell you how important it is to foster relationships with those people, because those people are why we get to do this and look as good as we do. I come to the bump on a Wednesday morning, and soon to be Wednesday afternoon, as I said, and I know that the work that has been put in not only that morning, that afternoon, that is a lot of different people that go into that. We have cameramen that come in, and that's their job that day. Guess what? They're gonna go shoot a Yankee game. They're going to go somewhere else, before that. They come in, but they're with us for that. And they're going to make sure that they don't catch me picking my nose. Like there is things like that. I have to trust our producer to send me in the right direction, because if it comes out of my mouth, it doesn't matter where it came from or it came from me. And there is a trust that's there. There is our editors that put these packages together where, we're going to write the questions for the show, but they're going to take their time and go, okay, this will help accompany that, the B-rolls and the videos that you see. Hey, I found this is good. And we're all working together, and you can learn. Like I said, I know a little editing. I have been able to, shoot myself, record myself in a situation like this or anything like that. But when you see everything that goes into it, those people do not get enough credit. And it's easy to see the credits scrolling down at the end of a show, anything you watch. But those people are important, and you should be thinking about those people. And I don't expect viewers at home to think about those people. I get that. You're watching for entertainment.
Right.
But there's a lot that goes into it, and it's good to learn about those people, appreciate those people. And guess what? Some of those people are my best friends. It's very easy to say, oh, he's probably great friends with Kayla Braxton. I am. Kayla is one of my best friends. That doesn't always happen either, by the way.
Right.
But, Jory Emma, who with, and Nash Wiener and Ryan Novell, these are the people behind the scenes at WWE that I've worked with.
We got to get those guys on here, too.
Well, they have quite stories, too.
Joe's amazing. Yeah, Nash and
where he's come from, working at Yasser Bleacher Report, worked there at the same time, didn't know each other. But all the stuff that goes into that as well cannot be replicated, cannot be replaced easily. So that is something, when I think about all this stuff, those building blocks, the people I've learned from along the way, whether it be, a producer at NFL Films who said, hey, this might make a little bit more sense when you edit this piece. I'll give you a real random name. Danny Doring is one of the final ECW tag team champions, along with Roadkill. He was my color commentary partner at House of Hardcore. He had done the role with Vic Joseph for a while. He is not a trained commentator. He leaned on me for a lot of the fundamentals, but I leaned on him to learn about the business. And I am forever in debt to him. I am forever in debt to Tommy Dreamer, because it wasn't about the broadcasting aspect of it. I had an idea of that. Broadcasting, what we do, is a different story, and why things happen and navigating that world. Man, I never thought, as I watched him growing up, that's going to be one of the most important influences of my career. And no one would expect me to say that. People don't know a lot about Danny. He's, still on the independents now, and he'll call shows from time to time. But what he gave me was invaluable, because it was someone who had been there before, not as a broadcaster, but as a performer in the ring, and what it means to travel the roads and go through the locker rooms. And I got to take some of that knowledge now to WWE, a much grander scale, but still similar in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. And, there, you said about fostering relationships. I think back to one of my favorite sayings, and I always hear it as a wrestling guy, I always hear it in Ernie Ladd's voice. Come here, sit under the learning tree of the big cat Ernie Ladd. And there's that saying of learning tree and sitting under someone. And full disclosure, this show and the way it's set up actually has a lot to do with Matt. And, I was very thankful, we hit it off pretty well from the show, and we have, I consider Matt a friend. And throughout this year, as I've tried different things in social media, without asking, Matt is one of the first people, hey, you try this? Hey, have you known about this? Even in the midst of his busy schedule, and has supported me and everything else. We've had conversations back and forth, and I've learned from Matt little things that may not be a direct, like, he didn't pick StreamYard, he didn't pick this layout, but he kind of gave me a little bits of advice that got my brain thinking. And it's those, when you sit under the learning tree and you have those relationships, it brings the inspiration that you need to go forward, right?
I think so. And, I'm a big believer in supporting people who are going to work hard, and I know aren't just going to ask me just because that'll help me move up in the world somewhere. He works there, that'll get me there.
I'm not going to WWE.
No, It's not about that. If I can help somebody, look, I have certainly worked with people that I go, let me see what I can do. I'd love to have you here because I know they'll be an important part of the team. But for something like you're talking about there, I will always support talented people who are going to work hard because that's the magical formula. I have worked with people who are supremely talented and they coasted on their talent. They didn't want to get better. They stagnated, they plateaued. I can get by on this. And when you move up in the world and you work at somewhere as big as WWE, you work at Bleacher Report or Sirius XM, these are all the best people theoretically. They've all gotten there because of the steps that they have built, those building blocks, as you have mentioned, and what they have learned along the way. You got to keep learning. And I'm here 2.5 years. That's nothing. Michael Cole's been here for 25 years. He said this in interviews, I didn't figure this out till I was 10 years in.
Right.
And I understood what he said. I did because I did radio for, since 2000, 10. And I did 4 hours on a Saturday and 6 hours on a Sunday. And I don't think I got what I would say good 5 or 6 years. I was comfortable and I knew what I was doing. I knew the beats, but it got to a point where I went, you could throw anything at me now. And that's a little different. That's a supreme comfort level where you're good with your talents. You know your material. You want to throw this curveball at me? Go ahead. You want to put me with this host? This guest didn't work out. I can handle that. It takes some time. And guess what? Things have to go wrong. Things have to go wrong in your life, in your career, on a show you're doing. You could have a rundown. You prepare, it gets ripped up. I'll give you a little insider. We had Randy Orton for Orton Week a few weeks ago, and we had him all set up, and we had some issues where we couldn't get him. We had an hour show put together. Riddle was coming on, celebrating 20 years of Randy Orton. And we didn't get him until the last 10 minutes of the show. Right. We needed to. I was on live broadcast. What do we do during that time? I had flown in the day before, not even the hours before, from the Performance Center because I was doing Level Up. I was on about 3 hours of sleep because my flight got delayed. I went from Stanford at 7 a.m. to Orlando, back to Newark Airport, and then there. And I go, all right, let's go. Like, oh, cool. We got Randy today. And the next thing I know, I am trying to ad-lib a 45-minute section of our show, which I had Kayla to do and Ryan to do. And by the way, our team behind the scenes to do. But that's a learning experience. You don't plan for it. You don't ask for it. But when they happen and then you get through it, you go, heck of a job, everybody. We got through that. Right. We did a good job. And of course, Randy would stay on and we did 45 minutes after, and he was cool about it. Not everybody would be. There's the flip side of that. There people go, you guys, something got messed up. I'm not hanging around. We've dealt with those people too. But sometimes those bad experiences or the one you don't expect will make you better as a broadcaster. And the more you do it, reps. I can't say that enough. I don't care who you are. If you don't get reps and you think you could just jump into something, you can't. You got to do it and do it and do it, and you will get better. And whether you believe in that 10,000 step stuff or whatever it may be, that is how you get better. You can learn, you can put your head in a book, you can study, you can read, but until you do it and do it a lot and learn from it, you won't get better. And I'm still getting better to this day. I can tell you, I did commentary for Level Up. I still do a commentary practice session at least once a week. And I mess up and I get feedback and I get told things, and whether it be from Michael Cole or Vic Joseph or other broadcasters or other people important, I get that feedback and I go, oh, I didn't think of that. I think I've watched this for 30 years. I know what I'm talking about. Nope, there's a way to do it. And if you can learn from those people and they're willing to help you, if you get someone who's been around that long in any profession and they're willing to help you, take that. Because I've seen people take that kind of knowledge for granted and those opportunities for granted, and those people don't last very long.
Right. And that's 1,000% true. I can say that in Salvation Army ministry. I have my mentors that I go to. I can say that as a dad. I can say that as a husband. I can say that, which, when we boil down to it, those are the most important jobs. And I know you agree with me there.
Yeah.
So looking at the clock, Matt, we have flown through this time. So I may put you on the spot, but maybe we can convince you into a part 2 for later in the summer, because we haven't even got to the fun stuff. Like who's your favorite and all this other stuff. Maybe we'll just have a Q&A session. So maybe what we'll do is in the comments, if you wanted to ask Matt a question right now, write in the comment section a question that you may have for Matt. You can message us on Facebook or here on YouTube and put it in the comments there, or just, message us, email me, whatever you want to do. Send a carrier pigeon. I don't care. Just send us a question and we'll try to set up another time. But Matt, I want to leave you with this. I ask all my guests this one question. If Matt Camp now could if my wife's a Doctor Who fan, so if you could get in a TARDIS and go back into time and talk to 12-year-old Matt Camp, what would you say to him?
I would say your career, your journey is going to take a lot of different paths. You will not become, unfortunately, the next Michael Jordan. I thought you had a chance, but that won't happen. The golf thing you're doing, you're still going to be playing that in about 20 years. That's still going to be going on. You're going to have fun doing that. That wrestling stuff you like, it's going to work out. You don't know. You're not going to get in that ring. You're not even going to be a referee. Your dad's going to be a referee in the NFL. That's going to happen for a bit, and you're going to have fun with that. But the things that you love, continue to love them. And sometimes, and I say this to myself, and I would say this to anybody watching, sometimes that can turn into a lot more. Sometimes that can turn into a career, that could turn into a life, a marriage, a relationship. You follow those things you love and see where they go. If it turns into a career and you can do what I'm doing, whether that be with Sirius XM, whether it be your Bleacher Report, with WWE now, that's the ultimate victory. But maybe it leads you to a relationship you didn't know was going to change your life. I moved to across the state from, southern Jersey to the other side of Jersey. And I happened to meet my wife who lived in Philadelphia. If I don't make that move, I don't meet her. I don't necessarily have a marriage right now and a daughter. That's kind of wild. That's part of that as well. If I don't DM Tommy Dreamer to come on Sirius XM and promote House of Hardcore 1, who knows if I am sitting with Mike right now talking about a near 3-year career in WWE. All of that stuff. Keep following your dreams is very easy to say. I've heard that many times, either in our business or anywhere else. But follow what you love, because it may not mean a career, but it could mean something else in your life. And these roads are not straight. They are far from it. And everything you expect you want to do, absolutely play towards that goal. But there's going to be new goals that come off of that. There's going to be new journeys that develop off of that you may never expected before. Follow those paths, because it could lead you to a lot of fun things. Always say yes, Mike. That'd be the one thing I say to my 12-year-old self. If you are trying to go somewhere in your life and you think you can help your relationship or your career especially, say yes, whether it's at 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. Say yes, because those reps and those journeys and those experiences, that's what matters most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Matt, I am so thankful for you coming on for part 1, it looks like. And we'll definitely come back and hit on a lot of those relationships. We have so much to talk about, from your dad being an NFL referee we didn't hit on, and experiences on the bump, and what was it like, more on the pandemic and so on and so forth. We'll get to all of that stuff. But we want to just say thank you to everyone viewing in. Matt, you want to plug any of your socials? And I want to add, this is airing at 12 o'clock on Wednesday at 1 p.m. The new start time of WWE The Bump, found on Peacock and all WWE socials. I'm doing the plug for you, because you didn't know the timing there. But yes, 12 o'clock, you're watching this, it should be done. We're probably about 12:40 right now. Plenty of time to pull it up and start watching Matt and Kayla and Ryan on The Bump. But Matt, you want to promote anything else that I didn't steal from you?
I'm at the Matt Camp on Instagram and Twitter, and that's about it, really. You'll see me, promote everything that's going on here, of course, with WWE. But yeah, The Bump, we're moving to 1 p.m. Eastern. Really excited about that. We'll have fun on that show. Raw Talk, of course, Monday nights after Raw on Peacock, and Talking Smack coming your way, of course, on Saturdays. That hits Peacock as well. I have a lot of fun with that, man. The people I get to work with, whether it be Kayla or Ryan, Jackie Redmond on those shows, having Megan Moran on recently, Sudu Shah, of course, down at Level Up at NXT. It's pretty cool to be able to work with all of these different people. So, check me out there. If you watched me from here, let me know on Instagram or Twitter. I love finding out that's where people came from. It's always cool to find out how people got to see me for the first time. But This has been a blast, Mike, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm absolutely thrilled to come back for another time.
Awesome. That's so great. And as always, every week, there was going to be a secret answer to a question. It's going to be in the description. If you answer it, a little birdie told me there might be a nice little signed thing coming from a place in Stanford. It's from the bump from WWE. Don't tell anybody. But check out that secret question, put it in the description, and join us next Wednesday again at 12 o'clock. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you tell your friends. Make sure you put it on a billboard or a poster. Let's get the word out here for the Get to Know Me series right here on the Salvation Army Berwick Facebook page. We'll talk to you later.